Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, agents. I'm Manny Carl, and welcome to a division video that is going to be called Everything You Need to Know About Loadouts, and maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. We'll try not to overshare too much, but what we're going to do is we're going to dive right into it. So go into the inventory, you'll notice at the very top, there is now a Loadouts tab. And if you see this, you will see that the first one's already done for you because you already have a loadout. And there's going to be 6 additional slots. So you can make up to 6 builds if you really desire. And this one here is going to be our first build. And we're going to go ahead and make another build just out of there. And we'll show you exactly how to go through the build making process. I'm going to go ahead and grab some Alpha Bridge stuff that I have lying around and just go ahead and just go through the normal build process that we are going to take and just skip ahead, and we're going to put some performance mods on some of these things just to go ahead and give you an idea, because this all goes into the loadout. And if you don't know, we'll go ahead and do the abilities, and then I'll show you the loadout screen in just a minute. But you want to set all of your abilities, your 2 abilities, your signature ability, all of your weapons mods, all of your performance mods, all of your stamina, firearms, and electronics mods, all of that stuff, all the gear mods and stuff, all that goes into the loadout and it configures in, so you don't have to really do anything. So we're going to go ahead and go into this free slot, and we're going to go ahead and save our loadout as Loadout Bravo, which is our 4-piece alpha with a Pharaoh mask and a short no knee pads. And as you can see, here's our skills right here, our signature skill and our healing skill, and then we have our talents right here. It saves every single one of those for us, and even if you change them and you switch back, it will save it and bring those skills back up. So as you notice, it saves all of your mods and everything like that as well. If you remove them, you can go ahead and do that, and you can rename each of these things. It doesn't let you rename them to what you want to rename them, so we're just going to go ahead and rename this to Assault, and I'll show you quickly all of the names. You can go DPS, Electronics, Incursion, Marksman, Medic, Pointman, PvE, PvP, all of this stuff. So if you want to make a PvP build or a PvE build, this is the way to do it. You can go ahead and label those things. That way you can go ahead and swap them out. And even if you don't have them, if you put them back in your stash, it's still going to work. It won't pull the stuff out of your stash. You'll need to have it and go back to your stash, but it'll still save your loadout and it'll still have all that information there for you. So now that we have this, see, you can switch back and forth. It's fairly easy. I mean, it's fairly intuitive. It gives you, and it actually gives you a really good comparison as to how to make a build and how to make it better. And as you can see the numbers are all basically tallying up. And as you can see, my alpha build is better than my assault build right now, but that is mostly because the guns are swapped around. So it's going to be obviously different. So if I swap them around, you're actually going to see a difference in the main stats. So let's go ahead and continue on. I'll go back into my inventory. We're just going to do a lot of this, and I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to do these loadouts. But every time you change your loadout, you're going to need to save it. So if you save it, you'll notice up in the top right hand corner it says Loadout Assault, and if you haven't saved it, it will say unsaved. And I'm going to show you right here. This is my Bullfrog and this is my Alpha, and we're just going to go back and forth and show you the firearms there and just the overall comparison once again, just to give you a good idea as to how to go ahead and change these and make them better. And you can actually use all 6 slots to go ahead and do multiple comparisons, but it's easy to just go ahead and swap back and forth out of different builds. Of course, there is a slight delay. You can't do it immediately. They definitely have the glitches covered on this one, just because, and you want to be careful with your backpack, because if you're carrying too many things and your backpack pops up and it has too many less, it's going to mess it up. It's going to tell you that you can't do it. So let's go ahead and show you our inventory. We're going to go ahead and drop this into our stash because it's part of the loadout. If you stash the item, the loadout will be incomplete and you'll no longer be able to use it in your inventory. So we're just going to go ahead and demonstrate what it is that we're doing here, and that's we're going to drop in an item from our loadout into our stash. And then we're going to try to equip that, and we'll show you what happens once we do. So we have the assault, and we're going to do our trial here. I switched it to trial just to go ahead and see what it is, but you know, it's telling me that the loadout is incomplete, that there's something in my stash, and that it will be incomplete if I try to equip it. So I went ahead and equipped it, and as you can see, it actually replaced that piece with the bullfrog that I already had, and there's no modifications on it or anything like that. So you can actually strip down all of the modifications, and what, you know, if you notice there, so I have that it didn't save, so we're going to go ahead and re-equip our assault loadout. And anytime you change anything, you're going to need to save the loadout in that form. So I'm going to go ahead and change out this weapon skin, and we'll do copper. Now, let's see, what do we want to do? What are we going to do? It doesn't really matter. Let's just do this one here, the Azure. And you'll notice when we go back to the loadout page, it says loadout unsaved. And so we're going to need to save that once again. Whoops, I hit the wrong button. So that's pretty nice. It's nice to have this in 4K at 60 frames per second. But if you notice, it does say loadout is unsaved. And we're going to go ahead and switch, and I have my Barrett's chest piece here, and I'm going to go ahead and give you this tip right now. If you change your loadout and you don't unequip all of the mods, you won't be able to use them. Just because you unequip a loadout doesn't mean that the mods all get unequipped. You have to go through, unequip them from the pieces, and then re-equip them. It's kind of annoying, but I understand why they do it, because if you just unequipped all of those mods, it would fill up your backpack, and you wouldn't have anything left to do. Sorry, it is late here, and I'm just trying to get this through for you guys so that you guys have all of this information that you can. So we're going to go through really quickly and do a sentry call build and get all of our sentries call stuff lined up. That way we can go ahead and do this. I'm going to have go ahead and put an MDR, but as you can see, I'm going through and having to unequip all of my stuff, and just you know, go ahead and save this loadout here to our trial and see what that does. And overwriting. So there you go. I'm overwriting the trial. They make it a little too easy to delete or overwrite a build, but we're gonna go ahead and rename this our marksman build, because we're using a urban MDR, which is just a BS. But and then, so the only thing you don't have to save is, I'm gonna show you here, the recalibration station will recalibrate some of our gear, and you don't have to save. Once you've recalibrated, it's gonna give you a warning that once you try to recalibrate something, that it's part of a loadout, and it will modify the loadout for you, but you do not need to go back out and save it. So let's go ahead, and I'll just show you by modifying this bullfrog here. We'll go ahead and modify commanding off of it, just to go ahead and give you guys that example of not having to save it. It's only when you do a modification, adding or subtracting something, but if you modify it, we'll just go ahead and let's see. Which one do I want to do? Which one should I do? Should I do brutal? I actually should have done the urban MDR if I was going to do brutal, but let's go ahead and just go ahead and do brutal anyways on the bullfrog, and increase that increased our DPS by about 10,000. So that's actually pretty good. So we're rolling here. So I'm going to go ahead and show you another one. We'll go ahead and do this sentries call backpack really quickly. And it tells us that we're modifying one of the loadouts, so that we're going to need to go ahead and redo this loadout and make sure that that we add whatever we add to it, but we're not going to need to save it. Once we back out, I'm going to show you that we did not need to save it, because we did not modify any of the equipment or gear on it. We just modified the stats, and that doesn't require a save. So there you go. Loadout marksman is still there. If it wasn't, if I needed to save it, it would have said marksman save or loadout unsaved, and we would have needed to save it. So there you have that. And that is pretty much everything that you probably need to know about loadouts moving forward. There's a lot of things like being able to equip it during combat. I actually had that footage, but somewhere I lost it along the way. And it's late, and I don't really want to go back and record it, but you can't do it during combat. If you try to do it during combat, it will tell you that you're in combat and that you cannot equip a loadout during this time. You can also not equip a loadout while skills are on cooldown. So if you try to heal and you try to switch a loadout, it's not going to let you do that either. So anyways, that's my time. I hope you enjoyed this quick, brief overview of loadouts. It's going to change the game immensely, being able to just equip different builds and stuff on the fly and make it so that it's just much more inventory organizational management, and things are much easier now. So there you have it. Things are going to change too. This is just 1.6.1, and so things are going to change as we go along. We're not going to know what the final loadouts are going to look like until they come out, but this is just a very basic intro to those things. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. If you aren't subscribed to us, go ahead and subscribe to us. Drop a like on this video just to go ahead and get us the that up there and that. So thank you very much. I appreciate you for watching, and we will see you guys next time. Agent out.